We keep telling people we should look way beyond the tip of our noses, because if you do and take 22 into account, you will end up by end of 22 with huge amount of over stocks. This is the arithmetics that we have, not ours, not Opex alone. We rely on 8 different sources, and if you look at their numbers, with all the 400s that we'll be doing, and by the way, I keep telling people we are increasing production. We'll be increasing production in November by 400. Then if you add the other 400 in December, it will be 800. Then if you add the 400 in January, it will be 1,000,002. And then if you add the 400 in February, it will be 1,000,000.6. An average, and within the next 4 months, the average of which will be about 1 million of Opex plus production. We have that agreement. We struck that agreement because we believe it will create a balance by this end of the year, and it will be a bit of a challenging year for us in 22. But we want to make sure that we reduce these excess capacities that we have developed as a result of the COVID and the consequences of COVID. We want to do it in a gradual, phased-in approach, and we believe we will have a challenging year on 22 if we don't attend to the situation amicably with the same resolution. I'm glad that yesterday I missed it, because it would have been an occasion not to miss. President Putin talked about the comparison of how and my dearest and nearest friend Alexander had talked about what we did as an Opex Plus to be attentive to this market. We've spoken a lot as Opex Plus that energy markets need attendance and need a collaborative work to ensure that whatever we do will address 2 main issues. We want to make sure that we attend to the market, and which we have done. You took an extreme price, an extreme situation during April, but let's not forget that we lost 25% of the total demand of oil. And to come from that end with the extreme to where we are today, mind you, what you see today is only an aberration of what has been happening in other sources of energy, which is gas, as Alexander was saying, gas, NGLs, and coal. You are talking about a situation today, existent today, that has to do with the entire ecosystem, energy ecosystem is being, to be honest, hijacked by ill-planned policies and ill-planned approaches of how people need to conduct themselves in assuring that the world economy is well supplied with a diversity of sources of energy. Yes, and people need to address it with the concern that while we are to try to address energy security, we also should be mindful of the challenges and the mitigation of a more important issue also, which is climate change. But we believe solidly as Opex Plus that our job is to ensure the energy security when it comes to oil, but it takes a diversity of sources of energy to enable us to do that. Yet we could also work with the other challenge, which is climate change. And clearly, this whole thing should not be more or less a zero-sum game. I think there are ways forward, solutions forward, that enable us to address both, but address both comprehensively. What we see in the oil market today is a merely incremental increase of 29%, vis-a-vis 500% increases in gas prices, vis-a-vis 300% increases in coal prices, vis-a-vis 200% increases in prices in NGLs. If these markets, if these industries were attended to as what we have done amicably in OPEC Plus, and clearly we have a lot to congratulate ourselves with the three of us here, along with our four of us here, along with other colleagues. We have done a remarkable job of being the so-called regulator of energy market. Gas markets, coal market, other sources of energy sources needs a regulator. If this situation is telling us that people need to copy and paste what OPEC have done and what OPEC Plus have achieved.
Very interesting idea. Thank you very much for that. There are a lot of consumers out there and governments, the Biden administration amongst them, saying, we would like you to produce more oil. We would like OPEC Plus to produce more oil. Prices are too high to support the global economy and its recovery post-pandemic. So my question to you is, why not make, for example, the Biden administration's day and give them more oil?
Well, it's not about making anybody's day. It's about finding a solution, a remedy to the root cause of the issues. The root cause of the issues today, as we sit here, trying to congregating to figure out what we need to do, is what is happening to gas markets, what is happening to coal markets. If these two markets, what is happening to NGL markets, if these three markets were attended to properly, like what we have done with oil markets, we will not be here talking about a potential of a serious energy crisis this winter. Now, if you look at the remedies, if you look at the root cause, you will see lack of stocks because somebody decided not to buy and not to store, lack of investment because the signals in the market is that don't invest in fossil fuel and in hydrocarbons, and actually lack of coordination amongst people, buyers and sellers, and a complete faith in so-called free markets and spot markets, that it will bring about a closure of these problems. The fact of the matter today, as we speak, is that free markets, spot markets, they did not deliver an efficient market, because it may have developed an efficient market here and there, but it did not develop or create a stable market. What we care about in OPEC Plus, you never heard any of us here talking about prices or price targets or achievable price regime. We have been talking about sustainability and stability of markets. Sustainability and stability of markets does not happen haphazardly. It has to happen through an cooperative activities that is not foreign from what we've seen in the financial markets and central bankers. And if we really want to bring remedy, you have to go to the root cause of the issues.